We have a scenario where we have a rotating section of the map that is activated by two switches, but the switches only work when they're both used together, and there are two pressure plates that people need to be standing on. And when all of those things are happening, then the center section of the map rotates. Now, to prevent spoilers for the map itself, I'm just going to use these placeholder graphics. So the thing that's going to be rotating is just this sword here. But the principle is exactly the same. All you do is the tag that I've got on the sword, which I'll show you right now. Just has the tag tile on it. So all you do is you add that tag to the tile that is the rotating section in the middle of your map, and yet the rest of it will work. Now, I've also added in some instructions here as a reset, so that if something gets messed up with the puzzle and you're not sure what's gone wrong or where or whatever, all you have to do is double right click on the rotating tile. It will execute these commands and everything will reset back to its basic settings to unmuck anything that got mucked up. Like, for example, if someone drags a token out onto one of the trigger tiles, or deletes their token while standing on one of the trigger tiles, that will mess it up because the tile's triggered by someone entering or exiting, not being deleted or appearing there. So things like that mess it up. If all you do is double right click on the tile that rotates. And simply there is a rotation command for the tile itself, as you can see, the tag tile, setting it to its starter rotation, which for the scenario this was designed for is 315 degrees. Rotate the switches that have been activated back to their non-activated position, which is 0 degrees. Remove the activated tag, which says that the switches are turned on, and remove the standing tag, which is the tag that indicates that someone is standing on one of the pressure plates. So that will just wipe everything out, put it back to its defaults. And that is triggered by a double right click. And restricted to GMs only, so players can't reset the puzzle. So for the switches, by the way, both the switches and the two standing pads are just copies of each other. So you just do one and then make a copy of it. So it's very simple. Actually, we'll start with the standing pads because they're super simple. So they have no tag to start with, and they just have one command. They're triggered on both enter and exit. But because both entering and exiting do exactly the same thing, we don't use landings. We just put in the one instruction. Either an enter or an exit will trigger this same command, and all it does is toggle onto itself the tag standing, which is someone is standing on me or not standing on me. And again, these are exact copies of each other, and they're hidden. So the players can't see that they are special tiles. That way, whatever is on the map will be what the player sees. So this is just a placeholder graphic, so that you can tell where you're putting this. And then most of the logic is in the switches, but still they're not terribly complicated. They have no tags to start with, and they are triggered on being clicked on. And that's it. So when they're clicked on, the first thing it does is it checks for token distance. This is to prevent players from trying to activate the switches when their token is on the other side of the map. They have to be standing adjacent to the switch in order to activate it, which just makes sense. Now we'll take a look at this instruction. The triggering token has to be within one grid square from the edge of the square that the lever is in. If all we were going to do is check for that and stop, you would set this to if any are within distance. And then it would check that command and wouldn't go any further if there isn't anyone close by. but we're going to set it to always. We're going to let it go through because the next command checks for an entity count. So how many entities were detected within range? If it's greater than 0, so there is a triggering token within range, then it will continue on down through the rest of the code. If not, go to error, which is this landing here, which just sends an information message to the player letting them know the reason why the switch isn't working. So they don't assume that the switch is non-functional or hasn't been like powered up or whatever. So it doesn't confuse the players and leave them guessing. So it just jumps to this error, which just sends them an information message that pops up on their screen letting them know they're too far away from the switch and that's why they can't use it. So this step isn't necessary. You could just have the filter, as I said, instead of it going through on always, have it set to any within distance, and the switch would simply, or the lever would simply not function if the player isn't in a neighboring square. This way is a little bit of extra work, but it removes confusion from the players. So assuming that the token is standing beside the switch, the next thing is the switch rotates itself by plus 180 degrees. So what that means is it just reverses itself from pointing up to pointing down. And that is all you need for the animation of throwing the switch. Then it sets a toggle tag on itself of active. So when the switch is in its off position, which is the up position, there's no tag on it. When it's in the down position, which is the on position, it sets a tag on itself of active. Next, we count how many active objects there are. And it counts anything with the active tag on it. So obviously, you wouldn't want to have any tokens or tiles on the scene that also use that same active tag. So be careful if you have multiple different things all going on in a scene that they don't use each other's tag names. If there's more than one active object, then continue down to the next line. If there isn't, go to fail, which is this one down here. It goes down to the next line. It does another entity count to count the number of standing objects, which is these, if someone is standing on them, they tag themselves as standing. Again, if there's more than one, then continue on and do the rotation. Now, if there's less than 2 active levers, so both the levers aren't in their on position, then it comes down to the fail landing. And in the fail landing, if there is less than 1 active, then continue on to the next line. If there's more than 1 standing, then go down to rotate the tile. This puts the tile back to its original position. So what this is for, you would leave this out if you didn't want the mechanism to be reversible. That's what this section here does. So it checks if there are no active levers, less than 1, and there are still 2 people standing on the things, on the pressure plates, so the levers are functional, then it will rotate this back to its original position. It's like off position, however you want to call it. And that's it. That's everything you need in order to make this work. So the way this works is you have to have people standing on the pressure pads, right? So you would place these around the map wherever they fit corresponding to the map and the puzzle and everything else. So you just move these to wherever it is you need them to be. And then a player finds the pressure pad, stands on it. You have another player stands on the other pressure pad. Then you have a character come up. Again, you have to be standing adjacent to the switch. You throw the switch. Nothing happens. Throw the switch back and forth. All right, that error message, that's what you get if you're not standing close enough. And the reason why I got that is I misclicked, which unselected my character And so I no longer have a triggering token staying nearby. So again, select the token, hit the switch. And as you can see, nothing happens because you have to have 2 switches active and you have to have the 2 pressure plates active in order for anything to happen. So if I bring this guy down here and I throw this switch, but then this guy steps off the pressure plate, then when this guy throws this switch, again, nothing happens. Oh, yeah, I have to have the guy near it, standing on, triggering it. So now we have people in pressure plates. We're going to activate both the switches. And it rotates. And then if we throw both the switches back, oops, wrong token selected, it rotates back. So you could take this. You can, of course, replace the graphics if you want the switches to look different. You just place these X's over top of where the characters need to be standing on the map. And then for the tile in the middle of your map that is the rotating section, or any other object that you want rotated via switches for any type of puzzle, you simply put the tile tag on that object and copy over these 4 commands onto that object. Or another way you can do it is simply replace the graphic for this here with the graphic of the tile or whatever it is that you want to rotate, the object you want to rotate, and drop it in there. And you can just drop this onto a map that has a rotating section that you want to activate with 2 levers that have to be activated at the same time. Well, they're not exactly the same time, because obviously I can move this token away. I can have this token activate this lever, and then I can have this token walk down and activate this lever. It's just both of the levers have to be active at the same time, but they don't have to be flipped at the same time. So as you see, the puzzle can be done by as few as 3 tokens. And then this would also allow you to have a setup where they have to be standing in a very specific location in reference to the switch by placing the standing pad, the pressure plate, beside the switch, but put it like here, for example. Then in order for it to function, we'll move the other one over as well. In order for it to function, the people throwing the switches, if there's only 2 people, they would have to be standing beside the switch, but also on the pressure plate. So they'd have to be on exactly that spot. And then again, the mechanism. Oh, I messed it up. I moved the tile out from under the token. But I didn't move the token off the tile. And this is an example of you're doing something that's not designed for, so you mess things up. So all I do is take all the tokens off of everything and then double right click to reset everything. Now it's fixed. And now puzzle will function. Yeah, so what I did there, how I messed it up, is I grabbed this tile and I moved it out from under the token. The token stepped onto the tile and activated the toggle, so it has a stand tag on it. But moving the tile out from under the token didn't trigger the exit to turn that toggle off. So now it's backwards. The next person to step on it turns off the tag rather than turning on the tag, and it messes everything up. And that's why you put the reset in the main tile so that you can fix things when you screw up like I just did. But that's everything you need. And all you do is just copy this onto the map that you have the rotating section for. Move these X's onto wherever it is on the map they need to be for where the characters need to stand. Move the switches to where they need to be. Potentially replace the graphic of the switch with a different switch graphic. And replace the sword graphic with the graphic for the tile. Now, you would also want to resize this to whatever the appropriate size is for the segment of the map or whatever object that you're rotating. And you do that by just grabbing this dot and dragging it around to whatever size you need it to be. And that's it. That's everything you need to do to set up the 2 switches, 2 pressure plates, rotating tile section using Monk's active tile triggers and Tagger.